defense. Boban Marjanovic will not stop the block party, even for little kids. This is right? JJ, Amari, that's what you're supposed to do, right? You don't give anything to these kids. Swat that shot.
It's a little shocking. Boban really is. I know. This is a jerk move. I'm not gonna lie.
It's a jerk move. No, you got it.
I'm sure there's more to this. They probably said, Boban, block my shot.
You got to give him a chance to score at least one basket.
Nah, you got to earn it.
Build confidence.
I wanted the top of the bill. Number one, get out of zero.
Warriors are one win away from getting back on that championship throne.
I know the city's going to be behind us. It's win or go home.
Know what one more win means. You can talk about it, you can embrace the challenge, you just gotta go do it.
Game 6 tomorrow night. Joining me now for a Celtics report is Tim Bontemps live from Boston. Tim, the Celtics have faced 3 elimination games this postseason and won them all. How are they feeling heading into tomorrow's Game 6?
Well, they're feeling pretty good, Max, for just that reason. They've been in this position 3 times before, and each time they've come out on top. And I asked Jason Tatum specifically if he calls himself back to that Game 6 against the Milwaukee Bucks on the road against the defending champions in the second round against the best player on the planet, in Giannis Antetokounmpo, when Tatum had his best game of the playoffs, went for 46 points and went on to lead the Celtics, not only winning that game, but Game 7 here in Boston and then going on to beat the Miami Heat in Game 7 on the road. And Tatum said that it's simply a matter of him going out and doing whatever it takes to win. And that's really the thing that the Celtics have talked about across the board, Max. Since the end of Game 5, the message is come home, win a game, and bring this thing back to the Bay. And if they're going to do that, Max, they have to take care of the ball. We've talked about this so many times on the show. 14-2 when they have 15 or fewer turnovers, 0-7 when they have 16 or more. That trend has continued throughout this series, and if they want to do that and get this series back to San Francisco for a Game 7, they simply have to take care of the ball tomorrow night, starting with Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown.
At least they said don't turn the ball over, because doing whatever it takes to win is not strategy. It's a description of a goal, right? But not turning the ball over, well, there's a goal that you can sink your teeth into. Celtics have been given the referees a lot of real-time feedback during the last couple of games, Tim. What did head coach Ime Udoka say about the refs today?
He said that has to stop, and frankly, I would agree with him. If you go back and look at Game 5, Ime got a technical in the first quarter. Marcus Smart got a technical in the fourth quarter. The Celtics were jawing at the refs throughout the game when things got tough for them. And when we've seen the Celtics have trouble in these playoffs, Max, it's been when they've lost their focus and their composure. Now, that obviously translates into turnovers. That's when they've had trouble in these playoffs. But it's also been when they've gotten into it with the referees. Jason Tatum in particular, when he gets into trouble, he starts driving in, trying to draw fouls. When he doesn't get them, he kind of flings the ball up at the rim, falls down, leads to fast breaks going the other way. So with their season on the line in Game 6, I expect to see Boston be a lot more disciplined when it comes to the referees. I expect them to be a lot more focused when it comes to turnovers. And frankly, given how the Celtics have gone through their season, it seems only fitting that they will find a way to send this thing back to San Francisco for Game 7, because all they do is make life as difficult as possible on everyone around them, including those of us traveling back and forth. So I'm expected to be on a plane Friday to the Bay for a Game 7 on Father's Day on Sunday.
Well, they don't call you Timmy Good Times for nothing, of course. Thank you, Tim Bontemps. Now it's time to run a little pick and roll. JJ and Amari give the keys to either the Celtics forcing a Game 7 or the Warriors closing it out in 6. Start us off, Amari, your key to Boston forcing Game 7.
Boston got to come out and play great. They got to keep the game simple, make the right plays, space the court, be ready to shoot, and then in the fourth quarter, Jason Tatum got to definitely step up big time and be a big dog in the fourth quarter.
JJ, yours.
I mean, part of making the right play is not turning the ball over, right? But the real key for me, a great indicator for them, is making three-point shots. They got to make 15 or more in this game. They're shooting 41% from 3 for the series to the Warriors' 35%. They should have more of an advantage in this series, but it's because of those turnovers that they haven't been able to get off enough threes.
JJ, you're key to the Warriors closing it out in 6.
Stick with this defensive game plan. We talk so much about the Warriors offense, Steph Curry, of course, Andrew Wiggins in Game 5. But to me, it comes down to how well they're forcing Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown to play in crowds. It's the reason they haven't been efficient from 2, and it's the reason they've had high-volume turnover games.
Amari, what about yours for the Warriors?
Yeah, I think the Warriors are going to play great defense. That's what they're kind of keying in on. But I do think if Steph Curry steps into the stratosphere and knock down open shots and score big time in this game, he's going to have a chance to win the game.
Stratosphere is an Amari Stoudemire. Stratosphere, I get it. I like it. All right, JJ, what's the most effective way for the Celtics to guard Steph in Game 6?
I can't with you sometimes. I can't with you. Mari said this earlier. Stat said this earlier in the show. There really isn't a great way. There's not a great answer to this. And you look at in pick and roll, when they run drop coverage, it's about 1.4 points per possession. When they switch in those pick and rolls, he's scoring even more efficiently at 1.46. I think at some point you got to do it a little bit what you did in the fourth quarter. You got to mix in some hedges. You got to mix in some traps. But ultimately, they have been better in that drop coverage of the last 2 games. That's the best plan going forward. They got to keep the Warriors out of the paint. Game 5, 50 points in the paint for the Warriors.
We're talking about Jason Tatum. I wonder what he has to say about all of this.
There was some frequency turnovers, right? Some situations where we kept getting in the same spot that were causing turnovers. So maybe we can stay away from, jumping in the air and passing it, or jumping off one leg, and being more under control, while still playing free. We can do both.
All right, JJ. You told me yesterday it's age, not stage, and he's playing a great defense and everything. Yeah, whatever. Here we are. Game 6. Possible you can get closed out. Your home court. You're supposed to be a superstar. What does he need to do?
He needs to be the best version of Jason Tatum. He needs to give you 25 to 30 points, 8 to 10 rebounds, 5 to 7 assists, and keep the turnovers low. And he's dead right on this. We have seen over and over again him jump off of 1 foot when he gets in traffic. Here he airmails one to Marcus Smart in the corner. In this next clip, Andrew Wiggins is in a perfect position here. Just kick the ball to Marcus Smart. Instead, he jumps off of 1 foot and gets the offensive foul. And then on this last clip, again, he's got the switch on Jordan Poole. Watch Kevon Looney here. He beats his primary defender, jumps off of 1 foot. Kevon Looney, great verticality there, forces an errant pass, which ultimately ends up in a turnover. They go down. Gary Payton gets fouled and makes the free throws.
So, wait, close your earmuffs for 1 second. You notice how he's saying it's not stage, but then be the best version of yourself, right, when it matters most? Do you think Tatum can do that, given the fact that you guys point out he's very young to be on this stage?
I think he can, and he's due for one of these big-time finals games, right? He's due for one, and I think the best opportunity for him to do that is for Game 6. And he does have all the tools in his box to definitely make all the right plays and be an aggressive offensive player in this game. So if he does take his time, reads the defense, make the right plays, and then the fourth quarter assert himself down the stretch, he will have a chance to somewhat force a Game 7.
But Max, I want to point something out. He's talking about what I'm talking about in that press conference. He's talking about not going to the same spots, not making the same mistakes. The question isn't about stage. The question is, what type of player is Jason Tatum? Is Jason Tatum good enough to make these adjustments in real time in the middle of a finals? Not wait for the offseason, not wait to do his individual workouts in the offseason. Is he good enough to do it in real time right now?
In the middle of the what?
In the middle of the finals.
Isn't the finals a stage, the biggest stage? Isn't that the heightened importance?
We could be having the same discussion in the first round. Is that a stage?
I need to ask you. Yes, it's a smaller stage. He made all the adjustments on the smaller stage. And this is smaller stages. He made all the adjustments. JJ, you were a pure shooter, and Klay Thompson is a pure shooter. And it looked to me like he started getting it going in Game 5, and we're all waiting for Game 6 Klay. What do you think? Might we see Game 6 Klay?
The indicators are there. And he had struggled in every series in the first 2 games and then bounced back after that. He has done that again in this series. He averages over 28 points per game in Game 6s in his career. He's coming off 3 games where he averaged over 21 and shot over 41% from 3. There's no reason not to expect Klay Thompson to have a big night tonight.
Yeah, he's the kind of guy I expect to do it on the biggest
stage.
Yeah. It's a stage.
Yeah.
Coming up, a live report.